Hello my friends, and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 random run, where we take a random character, random weapon, and try to beat Danger 5 with it. Hope you're all doing well. Let's see what the game gives me today. We've got the baby. So I have done a run with screwdrivers on the baby, as well as my class guide, but we haven't done a random weapon run with the baby. So let's roll and see what we get. Baby with a rock. Alright, well, that is a dangerous thing in real life, so hopefully it'll be dangerous in game as well. Rock, I actually think, is not a bad pick for the baby, although it might seem like one at first, because it gives us a lot of defensive stats, which is what this character is mostly needs in order to be effective. The baby, because we don't get level ups, we don't get stats from level ups, has a lot less HP and a lot less armor to work with than most other characters typically, so the rock will offset that. It also, because of its decent attack pattern, let us get 71 materials and actually level up off the first wave, which is not guaranteed with every weapon for this character. So we get our bonus weapon slot right away, can buy another rock right away, which is pretty nice. Here I am going to buy this Lost Duck, so because the baby can't effectively roll for weapons, because we only have 2 weapon slots, you are incentivized to buy good economy items that you see in the opening couple shop. The question is, do I buy the helmet here? Because of course we're going to want even more armor, even though Rock is going to give us more armor once we upgrade to level 2. I think I do. Rock is a very cheap weapon, so I anticipate being able to get 2 of these to level 2 fairly easily. Let's roll and buy one, and I'm going to roll again and see if I can lock another one in the shop, and we were able to. So this is a great start. We've got 2 weapons at level 2. We've locked a 3rd weapon already, so we're in, I would say, decent shape. A cheap weapon like Rock for the baby really helps. Obviously, the easiest way to win with this character is just to use Stick, but it's kind of an interesting character when you're not using Stick. I think that this character is in a weird place balance-wise because it's a very weak character overall, but super powerful when you have Stick. So it's in a sort of bizarre spot in terms of the overall balance of the character. Here, I will take the baby gecko. 10 range for rocks isn't actually that useless. It's only 5 range because it's a melee weapon, and range's effect on melee weapons gets halved. But rock is a very short range weapon, so buying a little bit of extra range can help. And we will probably be leaving some materials on the ground. Now here, of course, because we leveled up on the first wave, we don't get enough XP to level on the second wave. So we're just going to leave this rock locked in the shop, buy these 2 items, and then roll again. And I will buy a coupon as well and lock this corrupted shard. I would really have liked to find some harvesting. If we could have found a fertilizer or something in these first couple shops, that would have been amazing. But these are pretty solid economy items overall. It's worth noting that Lost Duck is much worse for the baby than for other characters, and it's even possible that I should have passed on it, but I think it's still good enough overall, especially because it's worse because we don't get stats from levels, so the luck doesn't affect the quality of our level ups. But I think it's still worth picking because for this character, we are going to be relying on consumables to heal pretty frequently, since we're going to be in very short range melee. It's very hard for the baby to get enough regeneration to actually keep you alive, so having high luck can help fix the healing problems that this character just sort of naturally comes with. We get an extra weapon slot here, and we'll take another rock and a corrupted shard and roll. And we definitely need this black belt, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy, because you have to get enough weapon slots in order to keep buying weapons. So what we're going to do here is buy this black belt and lock this rock in order to get the maximum possible number of weapons total. Finding rocks is going to be our biggest challenge. This is one of the... Rock is a primitive weapon, and primitive is the biggest weapon tag, so you're the least likely to find specific primitive weapons of any weapon type. Which makes it a little bit more difficult to find specifically the weapon that we're looking for this random weapon challenge. Do I reroll here for 4? I don't think so. We've already got a weapon locked, so I think we're fine. Definitely going to need some move speed, which again is hard to come by for this character because normally the easiest way to get move speed is from leveling up. There's not that many items that give you move speed in an efficient way. And so typically you're going to find speed and defense from your levels and offense from your items is one good way to think about how characters will typically be built. And Baby can't do that, so you end up with much lower defensive stats than other characters. Still making okay income at this point, so that's not bad. And we did, thanks to having the early black belt and getting bonus XP, actually get 2 weapon slots, which is great. I will buy a rock, buy a mushroom, because more regeneration, very important, and then we're going to roll here. Defective steroids and head injury are both interesting. I think we're going to start with the defective steroids. I do want more max HP. I'm going to lock the head injury, because I need to find 2 more rocks this shop, if I can. Baby actually rerolls a ton, so we do want the spyglass. Most characters you don't want spyglass, but for Baby you have to reroll constantly to find the weapon that you're looking for. So spyglass this early can be fairly efficient. It's also much cheaper to buy, so a greater because we have an item price discount, a greater percentage of our materials is spent on rerolling rather than buying weapons, buying items. So it's more efficient for the Baby in that way as well. Before I buy it, though, I'm going to reroll because I really have to find at least 1 more rock, and then I'm going to roll again. You can see why I want the spyglass, because we have to roll constantly to try to stay ahead of the curve on weapons. With the Baby, it's really important that you always have a weapon that you want to buy locked in the shop so that you can always continue to expand your character's arsenal. If you don't, then you start falling behind, and the only advantage that the character has, which is having more than 6 weapons, gets completely negated. Rock, I will say, is good for the character because it gives you high base damage, it gives us a bunch of defensive stats, which we need. But it is also a weapon that you really want to level, because once you get it to level 2 or 3 is when you start getting the defensive stats out of it, which Baby obviously has a harder time leveling its weapons, because you just want more of them. So it's good in some ways and bad in other ways. Take a weapon slot here, and oh, nice. We were very lucky and rolled into a rock, and it's also a level 3 rock, which is giving us HP and armor. I guess we don't really need to level our rocks past level 2. We can stack up like 24 armor if we have just 24 rocks at level 2. So that by itself would be enough defenses to make this character a relatively smooth run. We'll buy the spyglass and the head injury and then roll. Baby squid is great. This helps us get actual benefits from our level ups. Celery tea. This character really can't afford to pass XP gain, but celery tea is a very bad way to get it because it makes the character so much worse at killing stuff the wave that you buy it. I think we are going to pass it, and we're going to hope to roll into more XP gain later. Here I actually am just going to buy a rock. I want to get at least 6 rocks to level 2, I think. So even though normally we would want to have a weapon locked there so we can fill out our weapon slots, I think the most important thing is getting as many rocks as possible to level 2 to maximize our armor, and then getting as many rocks as possible total as well. So we're going to focus on just getting as much armor as we can for this character, and then we can survive that way. Kind of inventing the strategy for this run as we go along, but I think this is a sound idea. I thought I saw a tree up in the top right, but there was actually one in the top left. But we're so slow with minus 12 speed that it's really hard for us to get that. We'll definitely take Baby Squid. We'll take Gentle Alien. Then I'm going to reroll here. Okay, great. Another level 2 rock is perfect. Do I want the Alien Worm? The max HP is kind of wasted because we're getting a lot just from the blunt weapon tag and from our rocks, but the regen is really nice. That being said, we have no consumable healing, so I think we're going to reroll here. We will lock this rock for sure. More level 3 rocks is great. Alien Tongue, again, I don't know that we care that much about that, although we are trying to heal with consumables a lot, but I think I'm going to throw in one more reroll here and hope that we can find another good item. With Spyglass, we're incentivized to reroll more aggressively, and we want to find more economy items if we can. The lack of finding any harvesting items and only one XP gain item is definitely a problem. This character is very reliant on finding those things early, so we are fighting against a pretty severe disadvantage based on that. I think we can get away with buying the bait, though, so I will lock it. That could be a mistake, but our weapon damage is pretty high just with the individual attacks from these rocks, so I think we should be able to kill the lampreys. Although we do have some curse, and if like 2 of them spawn cursed, that could be very bad for me, so maybe that was a mistake. Locking that bait. I'll see how much stronger we get next wave, whether I actually want to buy it or not. Any consumable healing would be huge for us. If we could find a jerky, this run would get so much easier. Stuff like that. And if we find any harvesting bonus, so we can actually have some economy, that would be really nice as well. This character's economy suffers so much by not getting stats from levels and also just from being behind in general. And because you can't build harvesting easily, because normally you get that from levels. Wow, okay, well, that is the thing that I wanted the most, so we're very happy to get the jerky here. I have reduced my luck down to 6 with the black belt as well, so it is a little worse, but still worth it. We'll buy another rock, we'll buy a bait. Gonna pass on Weird Ghost because we bought bait. Here I'm gonna buy this rock, lock this one because I just want to buy more level 2 rocks. That's as I said, the goal for the character. Sunglasses, I think we can use. Rock has decent crit chance at base. It actually has very high critical chance, though a low critical multiplier. But the sunglasses are pretty nice because then you can build things like Hunting Trophy or Tentacle. And with the high base crit chance of the weapon and the additional crit chance that we're buying, that makes those items fairly efficient. I need attack speed, I need regeneration, and I need move speed. All of those are hard to find from items, which is why getting them from levels is so important, but hopefully we can make that happen. I actually think I am going to lock the celery tea as well. Our weapon damage isn't bad at this point, so I think we can clear a bunch of those enemies. And now that we have a baby squid, also, I really want to gain more levels. So I passed on the earlier celery tea because I thought it would... We just needed to get much stronger that wave that was upcoming. Wave 9 isn't as bad, so I think we should be able... And we now have more healing because we have the jerky. So I think that we should be able to deal with the increased enemy health on wave 9 a little more easily than we could have earlier. And we have a little more money, so we can spend it on things like celery tea, and it's less impactful to our bottom line. More armor and stuff as well, so we can take a few more hits. I think that that's one mistake that people make fairly frequently, is deciding whether an item is good or bad just in a vacuum, rather than in the specific situation that you're in. And so you'll pass it once and then decide that you should always pass it, never reevaluate depending on the exact scenario. We're going to take a weapon slot, and we are going to buy a rock, sunglasses, and celery tea, and then roll. Pocket Factory's kind of interesting for this character. It is another way to clear enemies, but I think we can't afford to spend on something like that. It really hurts to lower my luck, because we have jerky. That's a big part of our healing setup is consumables, but we can't afford to pass movement speed. Playing at minus 12 movement speed, especially when we get elites later, is going to be too dangerous. I'm going to reroll here. I'm looking to lock more rocks, and we did. And defective steroids. Losing attack speed's very bad, but I think it's still worth buying this item. This baby with the sunglasses, just looking very cool out here. We have to kill the spawners, or at least clear the eggs, because if too many double health slashers spawn, then we can be in a lot of trouble. That's a lot of damage that we have to deal in order to clear those, and you can see how long it took me to kill that one. I go kill this tree. Wade into this big group of enemies, clear that egg, and try to kill this spawner before it hatches too many more eggs. Taking a little bit of extra damage here, so I need to be careful. Gonna run over here and pick up this consumable. We're gonna give up some money this wave for sure, because of the celery tea and just in general how weak the character is. But hopefully we can survive, pick up a decent amount. We left 40 on the ground, so yeah, that probably cost me 50 materials to buy the celery tea, but we got 2 levels out of it, and those levels are worth regeneration as well, so I think it worked out in the end. We're going to take the rock here and effective steroids, and then roll again, and another level 2 rock. That's great. If I'd bought the Pocket Factory, I might take the turret, and maybe we could do an engineering sub-theme, but I think we're going to pass on that. Range is... So, something that's worth noting for the baby is range is a little more interesting for this character, especially with melee weapons, because your weapons end up in a big ring around your character, and this can just let more of them attack the same target at once, because often weapons on the far side of your character from an enemy won't be in range to hit them. That being said, spending 35 on glasses I still don't think is worth it, so we're going to pass on it. We'll take the rock here. I keep having to reduce my luck, but we've got to buy movement speed, so hopefully I find more luck items. Take the whistle, and I'll lock another rock. Armor is much more important than the 2 HP that we get for getting these to level 3, and level 4 isn't that realistic. So I'm just going to keep a level 2 rock locked when I see it. And then coffee and tentacle, these are 2 items I've already talked about wanting. Fixes my attack speed and gets us a lot more healing because we have quite high critical hit chance with all of our weapons. So the tentacle is going to give us a ton of bonus healing, which is really nice. I will say so far that this run has actually been a lot smoother than I was expecting it to be. Obviously, we could still lose it, but this has been going better than I was expecting from the baby, which is a fairly weak character, and from Rock, which a lot of people think is a fairly weak weapon, although I personally think it's stronger than most people give it credit for. This weapon is one of the ones that's on a lot of people's like D tier lists, and I think Rock is a solid B or even A tier weapon. Getting defensive stats from a weapon, especially with its high base damage, letting you not have to invest in offensive stats much in the early game, is just such a huge boost to your economy that even though the weapon's damage is fairly low, I think it is still very good for a lot of characters. A lot of people have asked me about updates to my weapon and item and character tier lists now that the expansion is out, and that's definitely something that I will be doing, so you can look forward to those. I'm gathering data with this series on, playing weapons that I don't use that often and playing characters in Abyssal Terrors and stuff, and that can give me a better idea for when I want to do those lists. We gained another weapon slot, so that's another armor here. Up to 15 armor already just from our weapons, which is really nice. I'll roll here. I don't think we really need to invest in max HP for the cake, so I think I'm actually going to roll past that. A level 1 rock, so I could combine these to level 4. That would get me 1 more armor, and then buy the level 1. And then if we find another level 1, then we'll be able to get an armor from that. I think that's actually worth it. So this might look a little weird just combining 2 level 3s, but because rock gets you an extra armor when you go from 3 to 4, this costs me 1 armor in the... This is armor neutral in the short term, because we go from 1 from each of those weapons to 2 from this one weapon. But if we later find another level 1 rock, it'll end up being very useful. I'm gonna buy the campfire, although it does pain me to lose movement speed, which we've so painstakingly built up. We just need all the regeneration that we can get. And buy some more movement speed, that's fine. Charcoal. I probably should buy just any melee damage that I see as well. Roll again. We'll lock this rock. That's great. And then roll one more time. Little frog I'm going to pick up because I don't think we're building dodge. The harvesting is still useful even this late, and the pickup range is not bad. So this will pay for itself fairly quickly. For 24, we're not doing a reroll. After this wave, I should check how much money we've gotten from Spyglass as well. I forget what wave we bought it on, but it cost, I think, like 34 materials. So I'm curious if it's paid for itself yet, or if we still have to wait longer for it to pay off on this character that's re-rolling a lot. Very happy to pick up those consumables when they drop. Try to kill this healing enemy. See, because we have so much armor and our regeneration is okay, we can survive walking into a lot of these enemies and taking hits, which is why rock is not a bad weapon for this character, giving us the ability to tank through a lot of the incoming damage. And there we go. Another weapon slot is perfect. Also, I will say that this baby squid was incredible, so even just the 6 regeneration that we've gotten from it so far, that has given us so much more resilience here. Okay, Spyglass has actually been great on the baby, so very much worth picking this item up early. It still hasn't reached the point where it's profitable yet, because we spent 30 on it, and for an item that just gives you money and no XP or anything back, I usually like for it to make double its value before I say that it's paid itself off. But the fact that it's almost there and we're going to be re-rolling a lot in the next couple waves means that the Spyglass will have been very good for this character specifically. We'll take the rock here and the Shady Potion and roll. Rip and Tear's nice. This can help out with our damage output, so I will pick this up. I don't think we want the alloy. 3 melee damage and 5 crit chance for 134 is just a pretty expensive way to buy that stuff. Level 3 rock is worth locking. Bean Teacher is still worth it. The baby just wants any XP gain that you can get, and we'll lock another fin. We keep having to buy negative luck here. This level 1 rock looking sort of embarrassing because we haven't found another one to go with it. You do, by the way, lose HP when you combine level 3 rocks into level 4, so right now, having done that is just costing me defensive stats. But we're still pretty happy, I think. Once we find another level 1 rock, it'll be worth more armor, and that's the thing that matters the most to this character. Getting that curse enemy kill. Cursed rocks are nice as well, because the stats that you get from them go up. Haven't found one yet, but maybe we will. This run is also brought to you by Jerky, because it's letting us just wander into these enemies so much more aggressively, because we get so much more healing, and that healing is never wasted. I'll take the clover for sure. We just want more luck, and we're not using lifesteal at all. We now have positive dodge, so maybe I could end up building dodge. I will buy another rock here, and fin, defective steroids. We'll take the saltwater as well. Any attack speed is good for this character, who's still really struggling on that. Here's the level 1 rock that we've been talking about. Take a penguin, and then roll again. I only have 25 luck, and I do think I want the alien worm at this point. We have +3 consumable healing, so that just drops it to +2. Pearl would only be 2% damage currently, because we only have 25 luck, so we're just going to roll past it. And yeah, we have to take the alien magic as well, so pretty happy to have passed on the Pearl, because this item is good for us. I'm going to re-roll here, because again, I'm looking for rocks. You really want to have weapons locked to make sure you are always improving the number of weapons that you have when you're playing this character. Finally got some move speed. It always feels so freeing to be playing a character with like a blunt weapon or something that moves slowly and finally get your move speed to a reasonable level. I've said this before, but I think I play with... I tend to prioritize move speed more highly than most players. I think it's one of the things that helps keep you alive against elite a lot. But if you are struggling, especially to dodge elite attacks, making sure that you have like 20% move speed before you go into elite waves may help you out quite a bit. Or it may not, because, like I said, there's a lot of advice out there that mostly ignores move speed. I think that you may do better if you prioritize it more heavily, but obviously that advice is out there for a reason, because it works for the people who are giving it, so those techniques may also work for you. Turns out, you can have different styles when you're playing a game. We'll take the boxing glove for sure. I'm going to recycle the boiling water, no point in that. We'll take the weapon slot here. We will buy our rock and our alien magic. Goldfish, this could maybe get me some weapon levels. It is cheaper because we have reduced item price on the baby. So I'm going to speculate on the goldfish, mostly because it's fun. I tend to think that this item is pretty bad because often you'll spend like 80 materials on it and then there won't be anything that you want to buy anyways. And like in this spot, for example, the bean teacher's not horrible, but most of these items are not ones that we're super excited by. Obviously the Kraken's Eye is great, so the goldfish did work out, but if we'd missed on Kraken's Eye, then we'd have rather just have had lower level items in this next shop rather than the ones that have showed up here. So we're gonna buy the bean teacher, we're gonna roll again. I'm looking to lock more rocks, which we failed to do. Oh, maybe I should have bought that charcoal for melee damage. Yeah, probably I should have. The damage of our weapons mostly isn't as important, not because it's not as impactful, because buying 2 melee damage for this character, obviously you get that 2 melee damage on every weapon, so that 2 melee damage is more valuable than for other characters in terms of the amount of damage that you do. But it is slightly less important because damage isn't equally valuable. The damage that you need to do is enough to kill the enemies, and any more damage that you're doing than that is wasted. Now in this spot you can see that we are actually struggling to kill some enemies, so I do need to increase the damage of my character here. But a lot of the time you'll have sufficient damage, and people sometimes overbuy damage that they don't need. But here we definitely need more. I'm gonna take this compass, we'll buy a weapon slot. Fairy is pretty good, we get 17 regen, and that's great, although actually only 14, because it's gonna be the Kraken's Eye, but we'll buy this, we will... Do I want Kraken's Eye or Fairy first? I think I want Kraken's Eye. I think without this extra 14 regen, we can still survive the Horde Wave. Then I'm gonna roll, I'll take the missile, and I'll roll again, lock a rock here as well, and we're going to go to wave 15. So yeah, I'm definitely regretting missing out on that charcoal because I didn't buy enough melee damage. We also have the Rip and Tear, which benefits from melee damage, so it would be helpful for that as well. The Rip and Tear may have been a mistake also, because this character doesn't really need help like that with wave clear, because we just have a lot of weapons attacking, so I probably should have just focused on finding attack speed and damage in order to give myself AoE clear speed. If my weapons just did more damage rather than the explosions, then we'd be clearing these enemies just as fast. For the Horde Wave specifically, the Rip and Tear isn't bad, though. Have to back off just a little bit, because we were taking a few too many hits. I like when this many enemies are on the field and the game, the audio just starts cutting out. So here, again, you can see this wave brought to you by Jerky, because we were just constantly healing up, so we could keep running back in. We probably gained like an extra 150 materials than we'd have had without it. We'll take the coupon for sure, level up our weapons twice, or our weapon slots twice, take a rock, and I can buy all of these items, so I shall. Another level 2 rock, and we also have some level 1s, so we can just upgrade those to level 2. Still need to find one more. This level 2, I've got 2 level 3s, or I could just lock this for when we gain a new slot. I think I will just lock it. Then I'm going to roll here. And here I'm going to buy the level 3 to go up to a level 4 and gain another armor. And then we will lock a glass cannon and an alien tongue as well. I don't need to have 2 rocks locked, I don't think, because I don't think I'm going to gain 2 levels next wave. Though it's possible that I do, in which case I'll regret having combined our level 3 rock. But I think that we will only gain 1, and then we don't want to have 2 slots wasted in the shop. Important to make our character just stronger, tankier overall, as we are running through the game as well. So there's 1 level, but yeah, it looks like we're not going to get 2. Chase down and kill that loot alien. One nice thing is because we have so much armor and healing now, when we want to focus down a specific enemy, we can actually stand on it and then our weapons attack it from all sides, which is kind of fun. Gonna try to kill as many of the curse aliens as I can before the end of this wave. Boosting our curse, really important. Taking a few extra hits there, though, so I need to be quite careful. I will take a glass cannon because I need to boost my damage. We'll take a weapon slot. We have another glass cannon locked. We will keep upgrading our armor. Even though I just bought 2 glass cannons, we still have 18 armor, so that's pretty good. Another level 3 rock and a level 1. I'm gonna lock this one, combine this one, and then do a reroll. Cursed Particle Accelerator, that would be fun, but we're gonna go with the rocks only challenge here. And then I will take a black belt. XP gain, still useful for the baby even very late, because you just really want to keep getting more and more weapon slots, especially when we're using a weapon like rock, where every weapon we buy also gives us defensive stats. Going to wave 17, and we will see if we can make enough money here to keep the pressure on. Although our income is a little low for this point in the game, that matters less for the baby because our items are cheaper, so the amount of money that we're making goes a little further. Got that loot alien kill. The Kraken's Eye has been really nice as well. It just helped us clear these enemies. And, of course, 10 Curse is really good also. Though I am taking a lot of damage, I need to be pretty careful here. I'm just going to back off a bit and let my regeneration and the consumable healing do some work for us. Oh, actually, I'm going to run into every attack and almost die, but we picked up a few consumables there, which kept us alive. So, again, Jerky coming in clutch. We definitely want any attack speed we can get. Negative attack speed is part of what is really hurting our character. And I'll take the eye surgery just because any curse is good curse. We will take the extra item here, buy a rock, Lost Duck and Missile as well. We will purchase. Gonna keep rolling. I am looking for just more attack speed is really the stat that we need the most. Is a coupon likely to pay off before the end of the run? Possibly not, but I think I'm going to buy it anyway. So we spent 40 on that. We'll have to see how much it was worth by the end of the run there. And we can lock these two, and we're going to go fight an elite. Now, I don't know if we have the damage to kill it. I haven't really been able to check my damage against single target enemies that easily. Looks like we do, so we're just going to focus it down. This is a spot where the range that we passed on earlier could be handy, because it would mean that the rocks on the other side of my character would be attacking the elite as well. But you can see that when we're focusing an enemy down, we can just kind of do that. We don't have to have invested too heavily in range. We just stand a little bit closer to it so that our weapons on both sides attack it. continuing to gain a bunch of healing here and make as much money as we can. Let's see what item we got. Okay, Retrimation's Hoodie. So that's gonna tank my range, which is bad, and only gives me 6% attack speed. As I said, range isn't that critical for the character, but it's more important for this character than other characters. So losing 80 range is a real penalty. On the other hand, Retrimation's Hoodie is just so sweet, so we're just going to grab it regardless. Let's buy this level 4 rock, and I actually don't have... Oh, I can combine these two, so I'm going to just combine those to level 4, buy another one. We'll just keep gaining more and more armor, and then we're going to roll again. This wheelbarrow would have been so nice earlier. And we'll take a coffee, metal we'll pick up, and we'll lock a rock. I'm not going to be able to buy more dodge, so the Retrimation's Hoodie is unlikely to pay off here, but it's just such a fun item. And it is funny that our weapons have such low range that we have to like run with this ring of rocks at enemies. It's going to make the boss fights a little harder that I took that item, but I just think it's fun. One more point in consumable heal would be nice, so I'm kind of regretting the alien worm pickup at this point. Because that 2 regeneration and 3 HP is mattering less than the consumable heal would. Would love to find some dodge, because that would boost my attack speed, which would be massive for us. Taking a few extra hits here, even with our 1,000,000 armor, any hits that we take are still pretty bad. Fertilizer is worth a regeneration at the cost of 1 melee damage. That's probably worth it. So spending 1 melee damage on 1 regen, I think is fine. We'll buy a rock, we'll buy more armor, we'll buy a baby elephant, we'll roll again. Bat. So lifesteal is actually not horrible for this character because we just have 22 weapons attacking, so the lifesteal isn't totally useless. It also gives us a regen. I'll take an insanity as well. Boxing glove. I've actually reduced my crit chance all the way back down to 0, back down to negative, so the insanity helps rectify that. We'll take the corrupted shard. We'll take the goat skull. We'll roll again. Leather vest would be so nice here. If I sell a rock, I only get... Yeah, I'd have to sell one of my level 4 rocks. So we would basically be spending 2 HP on... we'd be spending, I guess, 5 HP, because we'd lose this other... lose the HP from the leather vest. So we'd be spending 5 HP, armor neutral, but I would gain 6 dodge and 12% attack speed. Would I spend 5 HP on 12% attack speed for this character? I probably would. With only 19%, that actually seems like a good deal. So we're going to recycle this rock. We're going to buy the leather vest here. Just because we have Retrimation's Hoodie, so when we buy it, we get a bunch of attack speed. And that's going to make it a little bit easier to kill the elite. The damage from the level 4 rock is relevant, but, you know, with this many weapons, selling 1 is not going to decrease our damage output as much as buying the attack speed will increase it. Moving in a little circle around this guy. In this spot, I actually like fighting the snake boss first, because the way that we lose this is by getting behind, by taking a bunch of damage. So although normally I suggest fighting the whale boss first, here I'm going to fight the snake boss first because it's easier. And because I know this is going to be a really long fight, and the way that we lose is by running into every enemy attack like I'm doing right now. So I really have to back off here. A lot of cursed enemies are spawning, which is causing me some problems. So I'm just holding out for my fairy regeneration here. Gotta pick up that consumable, and then we're gonna run around. So I don't think we're actually killing the bosses. I took too much damage just through bad movement, so I'm just gonna focus on surviving. We're just gonna use our regeneration and armor to live through this boss wave. And actually, maybe that was because I fought the snake boss first, so maybe that was just a bad call. because what I took damage from was all the projectiles on the field from the whale boss. But we made it through anyways, and never, don't be afraid to just stop fighting the bosses if it looks like things are going against you. The easiest mistake in the world to make in this game is to commit too hard to fighting elites and bosses. Often you can just run away and survive, and that way you are just more likely to get the win. There definitely, if I'd had better movement or slightly better positioning, maybe if I'd found a couple different items in the last couple shops, we could have killed the bosses for sure there. But because I took a little bit of extra damage, I ended up just having to back off and commit to just surviving, and we got a fairly clean win with a defensive weapon set on the Abyss with a fairly difficult character. The baby is one I was definitely worried about, because you can lose with, there's a lot of weapons that are really tough for this character, and you can definitely lose with it, but in this spot, we managed to make it through. Taking a look at our items, we've got 508 materials saved from the coupons. I don't think the coupon we bought, Wave 18, paid for itself. But the spyglass was excellent, because on this character you reroll so much, and we got it quite early. So the spyglass, unusually, was very good here. Baby Squid kind of carried the run. That 16 regeneration was really important, and of course Jerky, the extra HP that we got from that was phenomenal. Let's take a look here. 192 healing from the tentacle as well was really important. The Rip and Tear dealt 40k damage, so it actually ended up not bad. Could have been better if I had built more melee damage and sort of built around this, and maybe we'd have been better off just focusing on our weapon damage, but because we had some horde waves, I think the Rip and Tear worked out overall. The Bean Teachers got me a lot of extra level ups. The Penguin was decent, though we were not at full health that often, so we maybe didn't get that much regen from the Penguin, but it's still a solid item here. Even if you get 2 regeneration from it, it's usually worth it. Alien Worm, I mentioned already, I think this was maybe a mistake to buy, so maybe I shouldn't have. The Kraken's Eye was great, dealt a bunch of damage and helped keep us alive with the bonus HP, got us more items for more cursed items as well. Although we only ended up with the eye surgery and the bat. We also somehow never found a cursed rock with 38 curse, so actually we got very unlucky on curse. We found these early corrupted shards and never found a relevant cursed item all game, so that's too bad, but we made it through anyways. Alright, my friends, hope you've enjoyed this video, and the win streak continues. As always, of course, if you have enjoyed this Brotato video, feel free to leave a comment and hit like, helps me out with the algorithm, and you can subscribe to my channel for more of this and other strategy game analysis. Cheers folks, I'll catch you next time.